So you traveled up to Hogback for many years then, and on the way is Marlboro College, and you ended up in a relationship with them having to do with Mount Wantastiquet, I guess, in some ways.
Well, I've had a mind with many interests in my life, and I tried to pursue the interest, whatever it was, to the fullest amount that I could, and satisfy myself with that particular thing. And once I had done that, I'd go on to something else. Now, I was a fighter pilot, and I have flown both the propeller fighters and the jet fighters, and I've done a lot of studies in there about G-forces and so forth. But this was something different. I'd always been kind of excited about the fact that we had rattlesnakes here on the mountain, across the river from us. Not the northernmost place, but second northest, out on Route 4, west of Rutland, out in that area, along the lake there, there's rattlesnakes, and there's the northernmost place. Anyway, I got interested in them, and I would go over there in the spring or the fall, spring usually, and catch rattlesnakes alive without hurting them. You don't want to hurt them. And because when I was through with them, I gave them to my friend in Boston, Museum of Natural History, for part of the live exhibit down there. But I would get them, and
so wait a minute, you would go up on Mount Wantastiquet and you would catch live rattlesnakes.
yeah.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, you can be asking me dates. It's written right up here. You can't read it.
Well, people are going to wonder if this ever gets broadcast. People are going to wonder: are there snakes up on Rattlesnake Mountain or Mount Wantastiquet?
Yes, there still are.
There still are. Oh my goodness.
Well, I say that because maybe 3 years ago, the veterinary up in Newfane had 2 dogs brought into her. And these dogs were from the Brattleboro area, but they went loose all over the place. And they were brought in there, and one of them died. And so she, his muzzle was all swollen up, so she cut the head away and sent it away to be checked. And came back. Crotalus horridus horridus. That's the name of a rattlesnake.
Oh.
Latin name of a rattlesnake. And sure enough, she had done part of her veterinary training in Louisiana. And she said, I have seen a lot of dogs and cats bitten by snakes, a lot. And she said right away, quick, I was very suspicious. So she sent it up there, and sure enough, they found this dog was loaded with it. And the only place they can think of where the dogs might have gotten it would be in the northern end of the mountain up in Chesterfield.
Oh, wow.
And that was 3 years ago. Now, I haven't been up on the mountain for 10 years, I guess. And the places that used to be dens were down pretty close to the parking lot there, where Walmart used to be. And there have always been a lot of snakes up there, and there's stories about when they were digging that out there, they sheared that ledge off to make the parking lot many, many years ago in the wintertime. And they had dug it in there with a big power shovel and pulled it away, and they had dug open a den of these snakes. In the wintertime, they all go down into the den and all get together and keep going around together.
Stay warm. Yeah.
And this ball of rattlesnakes rolled down into the yard. All the workers were gone instantly. Of course, the snakes are so cold it wouldn't bother them anyway. But I would go over there in the spring, and I had my own stick. I used to stick with a brass thing over the end of it and a loop of buckskin. It hung out with a string coming back so that you could pull it tight. You know, put the loop of buck string over it and pull it tight. And because I didn't want to hurt them. And the buckskin is very soft, you know, it doesn't cut into them. And with a stick, you got to bear down pretty hard.
You got to be pretty close too, don't you? How close were you going to get?
Well, you get a hold of them, and then you take them out of the stick, and you're holding them in your hand. Yeah, very carefully. There's a certain position you hold their head so they can't bite.
Yeah, I hope so.
And what I wanted to do was investigate the effect of rattlesnake venom on human flesh. So I would get some of the venom, and Brattleboro College would let me come up and use their microscope, and they'd get a little bit of human blood and put on the thing and put some rattlesnake venom on beside it, and then look through the thing and see the process that occurred when that happened. And as a result, I got asked for a couple of lectures with the students, and I did that for a while, and I got pretty well learned about it. In fact, when people ask me what's the reaction, I say, well, can you imagine your body's cells in your body as paper bags full of water, a whole wall of them. And snake venom, if you put that on there, it just rots the paper instantly. Oh. And everything spills out. That's why you have this tremendous swelling and black and blue and everything else. And there again, all bites are not the same. I mean, as they say, you get a little small newborn snake, be very careful about them. They're worse than the big ones. Because they let everything they have go, and what they have is stronger. It gets less as they grow older. Oh. And but a big one, I got some probably as long as this table. The max length, I think, for them is known as 6 feet. That's a big one.
Well, this table looks to be almost 5, and so you ran across those, huh? Yeah. Now, did this research go anywhere else, or?
Oh no. Most of this stuff I just did for me.
You were just interested in it. You wanted to know something, huh? And so you decided to do a little work on it yourself, and Marlboro College helped you out with it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they followed me along and see what I was doing. But it's interesting to watch under a microscope.
And then you gave the snakes to someone you knew down in Boston?
Yeah.
And they...
for their live exhibit down
there. All right. So there was a process there.
And I don't know, but I'm very sure that further up on the mountain, I don't think they're in their dens down close by anymore. But further up, higher in the ledges up there, I'm sure there are still rattlesnakes up in there. And then this dog turned up, and she said, they had it right from the laboratory. We did an autopsy on it.
Yeah. Yep.
And there was no doubt about it. And she described all the symptoms of the dog, and heart and everything else, the way it affected the dog. I was quite surprised at
to be
her knowledge,
Yeah, and to have it.
When she said she'd been in Louisiana.
But then you knew. But just so recently as well. I mean, that's different than what many of us believe.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no, this rattle is up there, but as I've often said to most people, you'd give me $1 million and I couldn't go up there today and find one for you. In the spring I might, but probably not. And you have to know where the dens are. And there's only weak one way or the other. Because they come out, when the sun will lay in the rocks and so forth, and go back in their holes, and just as soon as it's warm enough, they're gone. Go a mile or two away.
Oh, really? They travel that much? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 'Cause I really don't know. So, what is their life like? So they're in their dens for the winter, and spring comes around and they're warming, and then they're going back in their dens, and then summertime comes and they're traveling a mile or two,
Yeah.
just looking for
Ooh.
to make a living, looking to make a living, yeah, like the rest of us.
Oh, a couple of times when I had them, I fed them. And, oh, that's interesting. Wow. I really had them in a cage, and I would catch a mouse, you know, and a live one, and hold him by the tail, and just drop him in there, and close it down. And cage was small, the size of this, and the mouse would run from here and he'd run over to here and jump up on the wire, and the snake was somewhere in the corner here. And that, even with the speed of that mouse, he would nail him right about in here.
Yeah, when you make it to the other side, huh?
And hit him.
Yeah.
And the mouse would climb over and 2-3 inches up the wire, stop. Tremble a little bit, fall. That quick.
Yeah.